Our area is urging Republican lawmakers to modify a proposed bill about forever chemicals. Action 2 News have been following PFAS for years as the chemical pops up in drinking water across our state. Our Emily Roberts is a first alert update after hearing from both sides.
After drinking water contaminated with so-called forever chemicals for years, Pastago's Kayla Furton is calling for Republican lawmakers to ensure polluters are held accountable.
13 years ago, I became a mom and unknowingly breastfed my children without having my blood tested for PFAS.
Furton says there's no going back, but the group Wisconsin Conservation Voters is pushing to protect current PFAS legislation. Right now, our state's spills law handles environmental cleanup issues.
It's the only thing that has been protecting our communities for the last 6 years.
The law requires anyone who causes a hazardous substance like PFAS to contaminate our land or water to immediately report the spill to the DNR. Then the DNR can address any immediate dangers to people in the area. Under the new proposal, the DNR wouldn't be able to require owners of abandoned industrial buildings to test for PFAS unless there's evidence the site previously had a, quote, substantial amount of the uncontained chemicals. Some conservation activists are concerned it takes away power from the DNR.
If we lose this tool, Wisconsin will lose the ability to respond to emerging health contaminants as quickly as possible to protect communities.
In regard to these concerns, they're not true. We are working out some fine points in the bill and working faithfully to come up with as strong a bill as possible.
Group Save Our Water suggesting revisions to lawmakers to clarify pieces of that proposed bill.
Our representatives must prioritize Wisconsin's health, their residents, future, and environment over corporations who have made billions of dollars in profits while contaminating our homes, our environment, and our bodies.
But to say that the bill is going to damage the ability to test or remediate or hold polluters accountable for the scientifically promulgated standards is not true.
Senator Robert Coles hopes to complete a final draft of the bill by the end of this summer. In Green Bay, Emily Roberts, Action 2 News.